Howdy, partner. Name's Alex, host of this here podcast. Why don't you come yonder, rest your haunches, and hear tell a story so strange they'll make a rattlesnake blush. For this week, we're talking weird westerns. Joining me as ever are Tory and Kristina. Howdy do, ladies.
Howdy do, Alex.
Hello.
Can you keep that up for the whole episode?
Well, that concluded my prepared remarks. I might dip into it. It's hard not to when you're talking weird westerns this week on Between the Shelves. So it is National Day of the Cowboy, so we decided let's do a Western episode. But because it's us, it has to be weird Western. So we're going to be talking about some of the stranger Western films that ever been created in Hollywood.
If you do like these Westerns, they're actually really normal. We don't think they're weird at all.
So we each picked one weird Western film that we are bringing to the table here to talk about. Should we just get right into it?
Just to clarify, by weird we mean not traditional, like a spaghetti Western.
Yeah, we should clarify what that even means,
yes,
because it's not a term that anyone uses.
I think they do.
They
we're
do.
Not using it right.
Yeah, we're not using it in the same context.
Okay.
So it's just not a traditional Western. It's not just cowboys shooting them up. It's I picked a musical.
Twists on the Western genre.
Yes.
Yeah. So
unusual takes.
We have a musical, we have an animated film, and we have a science fiction film, all in the Western subgenres, I suppose.
Westworld, it would be considered a traditional weird Western.
Okay, good.
Probably is.
So what is the actual definition of weird Western?
It is like a speculative take on a Western. So sometimes it's steampunk, science fiction, fantasy, horror.
Okay. All right, well,
which we did none of.
We're kind of dancing around that. So the three movies we're going to be talking about, we probably already mentioned them, we're going to be starting with Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, the 1953 musical? 54 musical. Then we watched Westworld, the original film from the 70s. And then we concluded with Rango, the 2011 animated film.
Academy Award-winning
animated film. Let's just get right into it. I guess we're just going to go through these chronologically. Is that right? All right, so we're going to be starting with Seven Brides for Seven Brothers,
which was unfortunately my pick. And my first note that I wrote down as soon as the movie started was, I almost immediately regretted making this my pick.
Should we talk about what it is generally first? I have a brief plot description if you
tell
want
the
me to.
people.
Okay. Listen up, people. It takes place in 1850 Oregon. A backwoodsman comes to town looking for a bride. He meets Millie, and the two are quickly wed. When Millie arrives back in the backwoodsman's home, she discovers to her dismay that he lives with 6 of his fully grown adult brothers, who are completely uncivilized, unkempt, and unmarriable, apparently. Mm-hmm. So to save herself and her home, Millie sets out to make dignified men out of these brothers and get them hitched.
It's pretty much a My Fair Lady times 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's trying to whip him into shape.
Which came out around the same time, so I guess this was a theme that was very popular.
My Fair Lady came out in the 1800s.
Well, the film adaptation.
The original story. But anyway. Actually.
So, why do you regret this pick?
Well, I picked it because I thought my brand is musicals. I should pick a musical, and there's a lot of like golden age musicals that I've never seen. And it was between this or Annie Get Your Gun, and for some reason I picked this. It didn't age well, and also wasn't good at the time, I'm thinking.
I thought the same thing. I was watching this, and I was like, there is no way what is happening in this was okay, even when this came out. Like, it's so weird.
Counterpoint, this movie was a box office and critical success when it came out.
Yeah, which is crazy.
But, a lot of those musicals did have horrible elements that didn't age well.
I would say that doesn't necessarily mean everyone agreed or that was the norm of what was happening. It just, is a movie.
But the fact that we were aware enough of it being a classic that I picked it, I think means that people do like it or liked it.
So before we dip into the controversy of the film, is there anything you did like about it? Because I honestly did like this movie, and I didn't think I would be the only one who liked this movie.
I did think that once I started watching it.
So let's
talk about what we liked.
Let's talk about what we liked.
What did you enjoy about it?
I thought the songs were actually pretty catchy, with maybe one or two exceptions with some lyrics that maybe didn't age so well, but honestly, like, I watched this movie almost 2 weeks ago now, and I've been humming some of the songs just to myself as they pop into my head. It's not the worst musical I've ever seen. I mean, the dance routine was pretty fun. Some of the
dancing was fantastic.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I liked from the movie was the dancing.
The dance routine. Let's talk about the dance routine then, since we all seem to agree on that at least.
You keep saying the dance routine. Are you talking about specifically
the barn raising? The barn raising,
yes,
which I think is the biggest.
It is
spectacle of the whole film, perhaps. Mm-hmm. So this is takes place. I think it's maybe the first time all of the brothers go into town, and they're
looking to find some ladies.
Yes, and they somehow get into a barn raising competition with the local gentry, and it becomes a big dance musical number, which is very fun because they're doing all sorts of acrobatics and manly challenges, I guess you could call them, with the regular townsfolk trying to impress the ladies, and I don't know, it was just really fun.
Something notable, you said manly challenges, and I made a note about the barn raising, that they stop in the middle of the number to have an arm wrestling competition, which is crazy to me. It's like slam the brakes on this fun number.
But it's like a gymnastically inclined, because they also have to balance on a balance beam while doing
on
it.
a 2x4.
Yeah, and then what I thought you were going to say is how the barn raising dance routine sort of ends. It devolves into a brawl. Yeah. And at one point, someone throws a hammer at somebody else's head, and it connects from very close range.
And he gets back up again.
Almost immediately. Yeah. It was...
That's the power of the Ponte P brothers, is that a hammer can't even take them down.
They're, they have superpowers of being able to receive blunt force trauma to the head and dance their way out of it.
Walk away unscathed. But I was reading a little bit about the movie and how creative the choreography was for it in general, and specifically that scene. I thought it was interesting. The brothers are supposed to be the epitome of manly men, like woodsmen who have never seen polite society before. But they also have to dance really gracefully, so they balanced it out by having these numbers where the dance would be them doing a physical thing, like chopping wood or building a barn, so that they could still look manly, but the dancing was still 4 of the 7 brothers, I think, are trained dancers.
I was gonna say, isn't one of them just a baseball player?
One of them is a baseball player. He's not the trained dancers.
And during the more complicated dance scenes, they just sort of shove him off into the scenery.
Which is very Broadway. That's very Broadway. But one of the brothers are named alphabetically from A to G.
I love that.
And Ephraim, one of the younger brothers, was played by Jacques d'Amboise, who was a principal dancer for the New York City Ballet, and he's also the father of Charlotte d'Amboise, who's a Broadway star who has played Roxy Hart on Broadway in Chicago every year since 2001. Not continuously, but every year she plays Roxy Hart, which is crazy. She's still doing it now. But he is dance royalty and is playing this rough and tough guy. One of the other brothers, Gideon, the youngest, is played by Russ Tamblyn.
Dr. Jacoby.
Yes, friend of the pod. Dr. Jacoby from Twin Peaks. Riff in West Side Story, which came after this. The leader of the Jets.
I didn't get either of the... Yeah. Wow.
And... maybe his most important role is the father of Amber Tamblyn, Joan of Arcadia herself.
So what a cast.
I have some more notes about the cast, because it was stacked.
Yeah.
For a movie I didn't like very much, I did love the cast. Howard Keel, who played the main brother, Adam, was also in Annie Get Your Gun, so we could have seen him either way, no matter what I picked. But he was also later on Dallas, so he is really the figurehead of our episode, the Western man. And then the tallest bride, who I thought was very noticeable how tall she was. She's 5'11", was Julie Newmar, who played Catwoman in the first 2 seasons of Batman.
Oh, nice.
I was like, wow, they got some names in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was an MGM, like, big budget musical. I think it was competing with Carousel, at the same year. And I think MGM put more of their money into Carousel over this, which, I don't know, in an alternate world, I wonder if
this would have the staying power of Carousel.
If they had invested more into this over Carousel to see if there's a way they could have not rescued this, because it was still a success, and it wasn't probably until much later that.
But it doesn't get talked about the way that Carousel.
Right. But yeah, that was interesting because the whole movie's basically filmed on a lot. Like there's almost no outdoor shots at all, if any at all.
Although they are outdoors a lot.
Almost entirely the whole movie, yeah. So I don't know. It's a really campy movie. But I don't know. Like going back to the songs, I did think the songs were not bad. I mean, I do have like a list I keep on Letterboxd of like every musical movie or stage adaptation, like recorded stage thing of any musical I've ever seen, and when I was ranking this one, it was about halfway up the list, maybe a little bit lower than halfway. So it's like it's not the worst musical I've ever seen, but it's certainly not the best.
I didn't think the songs were particularly memorable myself.
Me either. I could tell you that it felt like none of them moved along the story. They were just sort of like interludes, like,
which is how musicals were at that time.
Yeah.
AFI has this listed as the 21st best musical of all time.
Out of how many?
I don't know. Number 21. There's 20 better than this, according to AFI.
But you have to wonder how many are on the list.
How many are worse than this?
I don't know.
Because is it a little bit or a lot? Because if it's 21 out of 25,
but there's been 100 or more, so
I think they're wrong about that. There was one number that I did enjoy a lot, and at first I made a note of it because the opening lyric, I thought, that's a bonkers opening lyric for a song. But then the song kept going, and I enjoyed it, partially because of the choreography. And it was the Lonesome Polecat number, where all of the brothers have, after the barn raising fiasco, they don't get to see. No, I'm sorry. This is after the kidnapping. This is after the kidnapping of the women, who then are upset with them for kidnapping. I guess we'll discuss this in a minute. But so the brothers have to sleep in the barn because they have done something bad, and they're sad because they like the ladies. So they are all chopping wood out in the snow, sadly. But the chopping the wood is a dance, and also the rhythm of the song. And then they're singing about how they're all like these animals out in nature who are alone and sad, which describing it doesn't sound good, but the song was beautiful.
Yeah, and it was great choreography,
yes,
too.
The way they kept the rhythm of the song. It was fun, but I wouldn't say... I'm not going to think of it a year from now.
Right, but it added, I think, to the experience. Sure. I liked it. I did like that one, and there were some nice ballads in the musical as well. "When You're in Love" and "Wonderful Wonderful Day," who I think Millie sings both of those. She must have sung them both. Those are not. Yeah, they're nice, but again, yeah, you're right. Like, there's no like line or anything that's probably going to stand the test of time necessarily, but they were nice. So the two songs that I thought were very, very catchy, but the lyrics probably are going to be holding it back.
Is it Going Courtin'?
No, not Going Courtin'. That one I didn't care for, to be honest.
You're not dude enough to go and see a girl?
The two songs I'm referring to are "Sobbin' Women" and "Bless Your Beautiful Hide," which are both very bouncy, catchy tunes with some lines that are maybe not so great.
Lines and themes,
yeah.
Yeah. An important detail that we haven't mentioned, this musical is based off of an alleged historical event, the abduction/kidnapping of the Sabine woman in the 8th century in Rome. And then they reference this in the musical in that song, "Sobbin' Women," and which is what makes them decide to go and kidnap the women from the village, and they're like, well, the Romans did it and it worked out for them. They went and stole some ladies, and then the ladies cried, but then the ladies were happy, and then everyone lived happily ever after, which does happen in this musical.
They were just hysterical, needed their uteruses removed or something.
Yep.
So that's what really didn't age well. But the song is catchy. It's a
very catchy song.
Yeah.
And then the I don't know, was it the opening song of the whole musical? Bless Your Beautiful Hide. That's when Adam first comes to town and he's looking for a lady, and
he's ogling all of the ladies in the village.
Yes, and talking about their appearances and whether or not they're suitable wives, in their demeanor. Again, like that's like a song I was like humming to myself throughout the week, and like with some terrible lyrics. You know, he refers to like, oh, she's cross-eyed or whatever, like she's unmarried, like whatever, not marriage material and stuff. It did not age well at all. But man, it's a catchy little number. I hate being in the position of defending this movie.
Well, you're not defending it. You're just saying that there were parts that you were entertained by, which is I'm giving you the leeway here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not like going to bat for this movie. It's like the 30th best musical I've seen, but I was not bored at any point in time. And it's not too long either. It's probably like, an hour and a half or something?
No, shockingly, the longest movie
of the three
was the animated movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I do have a note about that as well.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
But,
So, do we have any other notes on Seven Brides for Seven Brothers? I mean, we've danced around it. There is a huge plot point where there's an abduction of seven women from town.
So I have a review from the comedian Demi Adurijibe, who
our favorite.
We love him, who wrote, "The sexual politics of this film are so outdated it almost feels like a satire," which I think is very accurate. The women are treated like moms the whole movie, which is like a weird thing to do. And I can fix the movie. I can change one thing and fix the movie.
Fix it. What are we fixing?
Make the women want to be kidnapped by them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they had to do.
Well, it doesn't fix everything.
It doesn't fix everything, but it fixed the main plot point where they kidnap women and then hold them hostage because it's the winter and they can no longer travel.
Hold on a second. They don't hold them hostage.
Intentionally.
There's an avalanche that blocks the path that can go back to town, so they're trapped there.
Yes, the beginning of the movie, Adam tells Millie, hey, don't yell when we're in this pass because it will cause an avalanche. And I made a note about that because I thought, that's Chekhov's pass. They're not going to mention this if it's not relevant later. And then boy, does it come back to bite them.
That's a good note, though, Kristina. Yeah, if they wanted to go the least bit excited to be there in the beginning.
And also, it makes me very mad because I feel like Millie only existed for the growth of those men. Like, her only purpose is to make those men grow. She's no other purpose. And then Adam only grows as a person because he realizes women are people after he has a daughter.
Adam is a reprehensible character.
It's wild.
He could have died and I would have been happy with the rest of the events of the movie still happening in him because he is upset because they are upset about being kidnapped. So he says, I'm going up into the mountains to live in this cabin alone for the winter. Take care of yourselves. And then Millie actually is pregnant, and youngest brother Gideon comes and is like, hey, you gotta come home. Millie just had a baby. And he says no. What a disgusting
Because he thinks
fellow.
he thinks it's a trick.
He thinks that she made up a baby to trick
She's using
him.
her womanly wiles to get him back.
Where do you think the baby came from?
He's truly one of the worst role models in cinema history.
Yes.
And he instigates almost these guys,
all the
his
problems.
brothers are not innocent, but they're like,
Babies.
Yeah, they've not experienced the world. So
he has.
He's the only one who goes to town, and he convinces them to do this whole abduction thing. So yeah, he's a terrible influence on his brothers.
Now that we've talked it out, I almost think that the villain, like the worst part of it, is just Adam, because he is the one that says most of the problematic things. He taught his brothers to be that way. And then when Millie shows up, the brothers are open to listening to whatever she has to say. They instantly learn manners. They shave. They bathe. They're nice to the ladies when they go into the barn raising. So it's almost exclusively Adam who causes problems.
Yeah.
He teaches them about the kidnapping by reading her book that he snatched from her and pulling out the worst story in the book and using it as a lesson to follow. He sings the song Sobbin' Women to them to tell them we need to go, because he's married. He doesn't need to go kidnap anyone. He's the problem.
And he drives them there, too.
He does.
So he participates in the actions as well.
So your fix, I would add on to that.
Kill Adam.
Dies.
Kill Adam. He dies in the cabin when he goes up there.
He's attacked by a cougar.
So anything. I also have a note that says, I wonder if the Bridgerton kids are an homage to this, because they're all named alphabetically, A through H, and it's all about also marrying them off.
I feel like that's just what happened back in the olden times.
I don't think so.
It's like a challenge almost for naming your children. Like, ooh.
That's why one of them is named Frankincense.
Which I thought his name was going to be Francis.
Me too.
They were like, there's no male F names in the Bible. Isn't there a Saint Francis?
Asking the wrong guy.
Well, there is Saint Francis Cabrini, but a woman.
But men can be named Francis.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we've given this movie more breath than it
For sure.
than it needs.
Maybe we can cut this part, but I do have like another note about the abduction thing. I don't know if I'm misremembering this, but in the barn scene and then post the barn raising scene, was it my impression? Did you also have the impression that the brothers were sort of wooing the girls?
Oh yes, it was going well.
Right.
The girls liked them.
So because after they're abducted, they do quickly, and again, this is like Stockholm Syndrome like 101, which was not a term back in the 50s, but still, like, I don't know. I could see an interpretation where they're more upset that like they were just grabbed in the middle of the night, but then they quickly are like, oh, these guys are handsome, and this maybe.
I think that's absolutely what happened, because they had met, they liked each other.
I think that was the intention of the filmmakers. But through the lens of 2020, like, it's very much Stockholm Syndrome, like,
and also through the framing device of like, we're kidnapping them in reference to this negative historical event.
Yes.
Like, if they had just been like, they liked us, we like them, let's go get them.
Yeah.
And then the girls were okay with it. Christina's repair to the plot, that would have been fine. But they threw in an extra detail that made it gross.
Right. Maybe if they
literally throw bags over their heads and take them away.
Here's how I would maybe tweak it a little bit.
Alex's fix.
Here's my fix. They decide maybe it's like Millie's idea that they throw a party or something at the house, and they go to like. Then they go to like... Maybe
and the avalanche happens.
Yes, exactly. And they get trapped there.
That's actually a great... And then they kill Adam.
They got him.
Honestly, it is like a horror movie anyway, from Millie and their point of views. So...
Yeah,
Adam is the...
Oh, man. They should remake this as a modern horror movie where Millie is...
They remade it as a TV show in the 80s.
Oh, did they?
Wow. Yeah, I was telling my dad that I was watching it, and he was like, oh, the TV show from the 80s? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, what are you talking about?
I am interested to see how maybe they would have updated it.
Was it a musical, I wonder?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. Because you lose all these great songs.
No Lonesome Polecat.
So it did win some Oscars too. We should close on it did leave a historical mark. What did it win though? I think it just won score. It was nominated for 5 Oscars, and I think it only won Best Score, including Best Picture. It was nominated for.
Must have been a slow year.
It must have. But I mean, I don't know.
Say one of our other films won an Oscar for Best Animated.
Yeah. Okay, let's move. We can move on. All right, so that's any other closing thoughts on Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
No.
Okay, let's move on. So chronologically, the next weird Western that we covered was 1973's Westworld, not the HBO series, the original film. Directed and written by Michael Crichton. Yes, that Michael Crichton.
Which it is
Super
heavily Michael Crichton.
So Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yes.
Who famously wrote Jurassic Park.
Yes.
A similar.
And the Andromeda
themed
Strain.
Sphere.
Right?
Yeah.
He
Many
does good
others.
speculative things.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you aren't familiar with Westworld, it is set in a futuristic interactive theme park where guests can participate in a nearly perfect reproduction of the Wild West, populated by lifelike androids. When the systems go haywire, the guests are put in mortal danger.
That's a good summary.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I think an important note that I want to put out there before we discuss it is that in the movie, it's Western World. The part of the theme park where they go back to the West is not Westworld, it's Western World. So I don't really understand why the movie's called Westworld.
They probably realized that Westworld sounds better after the fact. The marketing team.
Darn, we filmed this whole movie.
Was like one sign in the background that said Western World or
they
something.
said it constantly.
They
Oh,
say
they did?
because it fits more with the naming convention.
'Cause there's
It's like
Roman
World,
Yeah.
Medieval World.
Yeah, so that's part of the whole story. Is there are other alternate theme parks? One set in like medieval times, one set in the Roman. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Just those three. Yeah, I'm thinking of the show. They had other worlds. So the film stars James Brolin and Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner is
Yul.
the what?
Yule.
Yule,
Mm-hmm.
who plays the bad robot,
Gunslinger.
the
The
gunslinger.
gunslinger.
Yeah. I don't. I really liked this movie.
I just want to throw in because the real main star of the movie was Richard Benjamin.
Yes, thank you.
Who plays the final girl
He is the final girl.
of this
So
film.
I thought I had seen this movie previously, and having watched it for this episode, I realized I did not, because the entire time I was watching it, I was waiting for Benjamin. What's his name again? Richard Benjamin.
That's the actor's name.
Yeah, I was waiting for the main character to like turn evil. I thought he was going to become the villain.
He does have bad energy. His
Right.
name in the movie is Peter.
He's
Peter has a
very-
bad vibe.
Right. When he's going to the theme park, all of his questions are like, but I can just shoot people, right? Like he's like very excited about being like
say
an
the
outlaw.
entire premise of Westworld and this resort feels incredibly cruel
And this wouldn't ever actually get made.
because it's not just him. Like everyone is so willing to shoot someone or ask for an
Do
android
crimes.
to be changed so that they can have an affair with them. Like I thought it was wild.
It's really sold as you can go to this historical time and do whatever you want, like whatever you want within the world without consequence.
Yeah, I just wrote that it's just LARPing for rich people, and that does feel like a rich people idea.
But at least LARPing, you're not actually like
no, you have
doing
like
the
foam
things.
swords. Yeah.
But they're
But you're
shooting
LARPing with other
drones.
people, not with androids.
Sometimes.
It's a very novel concept for a movie. I think this movie does really well is like slowly world building and kind of like easing you into the concept, because it is a wild concept. But it does a great job of like easing you into the world. So like the movie starts with like an infomercial basically for Westworld, where there's like this charismatic announcer sort of character, and he's interviewing people who are like leaving the park, and they're kind of talking about their experiences. So you're starting to get like little drips of it there. And then there's a long, maybe 10-minute intro sequence where they have Richard Benjamin and James Brolin
Talking about the park.
yeah, they're going to the park, and there's a long sequence of stages they have to go through before they finally arrive at the Midwest or the Western town. So they have to like get dressed, and then they have to go through like all these trainings and a train ride or a hovercraft ride, I think it was. But James Brolin is sort of like the guide for the audience,
Which is a great framework to
Right,
introduce
'cause
you into the...
he's been to the park at least once before, so he knows all the rules. He knows what you can and can't do, and he's sort of answering the eager Richard Benjamin's lead characters all of his questions and sort of guiding him into the process bit by bit. So you're kind of like slowly eased into the world, which I think really worked. And then by the time you're like settled in the Wild West town, that's when things start going weird and turning very quickly. So yeah, I think I was shocked to learn that Michael Crichton directed this too. I guess this wasn't his first movie he directed either. He did some TV, at least one made-for-TV movie, but he did a great job. What a multi-talented guy.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I enjoyed the most about this movie that I wasn't expecting was that it was very funny. Like, I guess it's supposed to be sort of like a satire in some ways, but not that they were making jokes, but just things that were happening were humorous. Like when they're in the bar and the main character picks a fight with the gunslinger, and there's about to be a little bit of a shootout. James Brolin does this barrel roll over the bar to hide behind it so that he doesn't get caught in the line of fire, which he can't get shot. They establish that the robots cannot shoot you, and the guns that you use on the robots won't hurt you. But he's like, I gotta get out of the way, and he just does this ridiculous roll.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of moments like that of just, they try to lighten the mood, and then immediately something like really unsettling will happen, and I thought it was a good balance for the story.
And they have two side characters that they'll kind of cut to break up some of the tension. One of them is in the Midwest town. He's kind of like this, he looks like an accountant.
He's
or
a banker.
Something. He's a banker, and he's sort of fumbles his way into becoming like the sheriff, and that's kind of like a funny like story that we get kind of beads on along the way.
Played by Dick Van Patten. More great casting in this movie. Really good casting.
Yeah. And then what I think also this movie does really well is it bounces from the Western world to the medieval world to follow this other character and his kind of living out his fantasy of being like a knight or something, like, I don't know, a prince or a knight or something. And at first you're like, okay, like I thought this is going to be in the West. Like, why are they cutting to this? And then it seems like every time they cut to this medieval world, it's sort of like a microcosm of what's actually going on in the whole.
He's experiencing all the
corporation.
dysfunction.
And exactly. You sort of see all the dysfunction that's going on. So when they cut back to the Western world, those characters, our main characters, are unaware of anything that's going on, but the audience is. So it has that nice tension that's building in the background. So I thought that was really interesting too. And then Yul,
Y-U-L.
Yul Brynner is fantastic, I think, as the main villain.
Terrifying.
His demeanor, his face, he doesn't have to say anything. He's just immediately intimidating. What a short little angry man.
I wish I didn't know who he was, because I think watching it, when they first encounter him in the bar, you're like, okay, this is just a robot. They're just having they're showing the thing that they came here to do. He shoots the robot, they drag him away, and you're like, okay, that's what they're here to do in Western world. But then he shows up again the next day and comes to find them in their hotel room. You're like, well, that doesn't seem like how that's supposed to work.
I was a little confused on that scene too.
Well, he's showing the malfunction.
Right, but nobody reacts to that. Like, and they even have like the robot scientists like fix him up and then release him again. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I was confused on that.
I think the idea is they have a limited amount of robots, so every night they do fix them and then just put them right back out. But the fact that he remembered them,
right,
and is now targeting them, and he becomes the antagonist of the movie after that. That's the sign to those characters that something's wrong, which they don't really pick up on right away. But
that's what I was confused about. I'm like, do the guests know that the robots get reset at the next day, or are they like shocked that this person they killed the day before is now in their hotel room?
I think the shock is not that he appears back in the town. The shock is like, why is he coming to try to kill us?
Right.
Instead of just being a generic, like, if we interact with him, there's an altercation. Instead, now he's instigating, which is not how the world works.
Right.
So I think it's not that
everything
he's
is
there.
supposed to be reactive to the guests,
yes.
not pursuing the guests.
Yes.
Unless that's the story you want.
Right. They do allude to that, and I think they probably explore that more in the TV show. How there's like plot lines that the guests can kind of stumble on and kind of go off on their own little adventures. I guess that's more alluded to in the medieval story, where like there's the whole quest of like defeating the Black Knight. And
well, they sort of cut to like the programmers at one point going, okay, we have to upload some new programming to the queen so she's receptive to cheating on the king. And
yeah, that was interesting when they go like behind the scenes and they show like all the scientists like on their control boards and everything, reacting to what the guests are doing.
There was there's the scene where they have the cleaners come and clean up the town in the middle of the night, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
And it made me think, like, they're in bed. The main characters are sleeping in their $1,000 a night hotel room that they have to share, which I thought was crazy. But
authentic.
Yes.
I did the conversions on this. So the movie's supposed to take place in like 1983 or something. So $1,000 is like $5,000 a night in today's money. So it makes it even more ridiculous.
I think they're paying for the rest of the experience,
but
they could still give them separate rooms, I would think. But anyway,
maybe they picked to sleep together.
Maybe they did. But the robots all turn off at night so that they can do like the town maintenance. And I was imagining getting up to go to the bathroom, and it's just there's just lifeless humanoid robots all around. Like it's unsettling.
Right. I would
if
be.
You think about this world at all.
It's paying really $5,000 a night, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw like a cleaning crew with like a spotlight. Like, I would be very upset.
Mm-hmm. But they had like a dissonant whistling sound that was part of the music when they were doing the cleanup, and I thought it was the cleaners like doing a jaunty little tune themselves on top of
whistling
the score.
while they work.
Yeah, which maybe is what it was supposed to evoke, but that was also very creepy to me.
It reminded me of immersive horror experiences where like people pay tons of money to essentially be abused and scared out of their minds.
There's something for everybody out there.
Something for everybody. Did anyone else notice there's a scene where the main scientist is walking through the lab while they're doing the repairs, and they do a shot where you can see that also the horses, dogs, and chickens are also robots, and are down there to be repaired, which makes me wonder what happened to them. I hope they're okay, even though they're robots. But like,
well, we see don't we see the horse get pulled from the town? Like it was like dead on the ground. It probably just got caught in the line of fire in a shootout or something.
You'd think they could program the gun so that the horses are
also not going to get killed.
Yeah. You'd think they could do that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like it's just a fun movie to like get you thinking about like the logistics of the world, because they even like at one point come across a rattlesnake. I'm not going to spoil it because it is a kind of a major point in the plot, but like then they cut to like the control room and they're like, oh, that's obviously a robot too. And it's like, but they're miles away from town. It's like, what is the reach of this town? Like, did they just buy an entire state, this company, and like lock it down?
It's huge.
Although at one point when Richard Benjamin is on his horse, like riding away from the gunslinger, it looks like he goes outside of the bounds of the western part, because there's like some not cones, but that kind of a thing that like boundary delineators.
Right.
But it does make you wonder, like, are the cactuses robots? Like,
I don't think the cactuses. They're probably not real. I do think that it's also pretty relevant for today because it's just a rogue AI story, a thing that we're currently writing horror stories about.
Yeah. They could easily remake this again in like maybe like a VR world with AI or something.
I mean, they did already remake it where the rogue AI is part of the horror.
I've only watched the first season of the Westworld HBO series. Did you watch all of it?
No. I watched, I think, 3 seasons of it, and then the 4th season, it was canceled before the 4th season even started, but everyone already knew that the 4th season didn't wrap it up, so I was
that's
like,
disappointing.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't even think it's currently streaming right now. Like HBO was like,
wow.
Yeah.
So the HBO series wasn't the only attempt to revitalize this franchise. So there was a sequel called Future World that came out only 2 or 3 years later. Only Yul, what the heck is his name?
Brenner.
Only Yul Brenner returned. And it was a critically panned. I don't think it didn't make anywhere near as much money as Westworld. And then a few years after that, there was a short-lived TV series called Beyond Westworld that aired on CBS. But it was canceled after only 3 episodes. So
haters.
It's too bad. I guess Michael Crichton was the magic juice that kept this world alive, because at once he was out of the picture.
Ain't that the way?
Yeah.
Just look at Jurassic Park.
There was also a video game,
Really?
Westworld 2000.
It
came out in the 90s.
I gotta find that. So one other thing that this movie is known for, or will go down in history for, is it's the first movie to ever have digital visual effects. Ever.
Oh, when the gunslinger is looking out into the pixelated world.
There's 2 minutes of footage in the entire film, I believe, where you look from the perspective of the gunslinger, the android, and it's sort of like a pixelated,
like a video game world almost.
Yeah, of like shot. So I have a little note here. So this film, the whole movie was made for like $1 million. Like it was like a very shoestring budget. And when Michael Crichton was like adamant that he wanted these shots. He wanted like some kind of special effect. So he went to the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and they gave him a quote for $200,000, and it would have taken 9 months to do these 2 minutes of the shots that he wanted, which obviously would not have been possible because the whole movie was made in 9 months, and that would have been a fifth of their budget. So that didn't work. So what Michael Crichton did is he went to an experimental filmmaker, John Whitney Sr., to ask for his advice. And John Whitney Sr. said, "Oh, my son is really into computers and he wants to be a filmmaker, so you should talk to him." And that's what ended up happening. His son did all the special effects for like $20,000 in 3 months. And that's how it came about.
I loved those shots in the movie. I thought they were really fun. Like, to suddenly switch to the robot's perspective.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
For a movie that came out, what, like
73.
73, so
50 years ago?
50 years ago, years before Star Wars and everything, and this had some pretty cool special effects. My only critique of the special effect, and I shouldn't be critiquing it because it's the first time they ever even attempted it, but I wish, like, because those scenes in the film are basically the gunslinger stalking the main character, and it's like supposed to be like him like tracking him in the wild. I wish they had like in one pixel just like light up red to like show the audience like the robot knows where the character is, because you're watching the movie and you don't really know if the gunslinger can see the other character or not, because all you're looking at is just random pixel colors.
No, you can.
There's the shape of him.
You see the shape of him in a different color because he's tracking his heat, which is why when he stands under the torch.
Well, I mean before that, when he's like tracking him through like the canyons and things.
Oh, because when he's in the throne room, you see him.
Right. But before that, like there's a whole long sequence where he's like tracking him through the wilderness, and when they cut to like finding him like hidden in the the rock terraces or whatever, he's like, you can't tell from the audience, like, does he know where he is or not? And even like the reactions, still don't know. So
I assumed that
maybe that was on purpose,
because then he shoots him.
He's very like focused.
Right. I just wish like the special effect indicated that in some way. But you're right. Like the final scene, they do a very cool. Vision. Yeah, exactly.
I think maybe my number one favorite thing about this movie, it's only an hour and 28 minutes, and it covers a lot of ground. Mm-hmm. Back in the day when they didn't need to make a movie like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I greatly appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's world building, there's a climactic moment, and then there's a long chase scene, and it all fits in such a compact, nice package. I wish Rango did that.
I also wish Rango did that.
All right. So before we move on to Rango, I did have one question. So which of the worlds would you most like to visit if you were to visit one? Or
None,
would you come up with another world?
I wouldn't go to any world.
No.
So what if you could come up with a new world? You wouldn't. What about you, Christine? Like a Tolkien world? You wouldn't want to go to like Hobbiton?
If I could do a Hobbiton world, yes, there would be no weapons, so that would be nice. The worlds
There's a big birthday party at the end of your stay.
The worlds that they picked, none of them were friendly to women.
Right.
And I don't think they would have thought to like program in.
Well, they did have women guests.
Yeah, but they were all like with a man.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't think they legally could have gone there without a man in the 70s. You couldn't have a credit card.
I thought I read somewhere that was a conscious choice by Crichton when he was writing it, and he wanted that to be a bigger theme of the film, is like it was supposed to be like a male fantasy sort of like world, because the time periods they pick I mean, pretty much all of history is a male-dominated world, but like those specific times were like a very male fantasy sort of.
That makes sense.
In the HBO show, you can go to like a Game of Thrones world also, which seems like the worst one to pick.
I kept thinking that. I'm like, of all, why would you want to go to the medieval one?
To
like,
Westeros.
Like the best part of their time is like the heat of like a turkey leg. I'm like, but you want to pay $5,000?
And you could just go to the Renaissance Fair for that.
Which the guy takes a half-eaten turkey leg off the table and is satisfied with it in this movie.
Yeah, it was left out
stood
overnight.
out to me, yeah. after the massacre of the robots, to me, the thought of everyone in this world is a robot except me is upsetting, because they had a whole thing during the opening establishment of the world where they're like, you can tell which ones are robots by their hands, but then everyone is shown to be a robot except the guests. So that just freaks me out, even though they were very lifelike. Like, I don't want to be surrounded by robots. It feels dangerous, even if it is working.
Yeah.
I thought the hands thing was going to come up in a different way. Like, it was going to be revealed, like, they wouldn't see the gunslinger's hands, and by the time we were at the end of the movie, they would look, and they looked just like human hands.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh. But then no.
That would have been a cool twist if he was a human. He was just like
Well,
a psycho.
well,
He's
like
also
a
in the
guest.
park and has just...
Well, I just thought
systems.
that would be, like, he's the perfect android. Like, he's the top tier of what...
But I like the twist of him
he's the
being a human,
T-1000.
too.
Yeah.
Which world would you go to, Alex?
None of these. None of them seem comfortable at all. I would have liked to go in like a space one, like a futuristic one.
So you gotta watch Future World.
Yeah, I guess I have to watch Future World. I don't know though. I'm kind of in the same camp as you. It's like I'd rather just be in the reality and enjoy my time and like go to a nice restaurant. Than
Or like you could have the same experience at a Ren fair and you know it's fake, but at least it's people and everything's real that happens, you know?
Yeah. I thought they were going to explore that theme a little bit more with this movie. Like, the only people who would want to go to this sort of park are like deranged people who are like, they want to murder somebody, and this is them like the only way they can legally live that out. Or like go on whatever, like cheat on their spouses or whatever, like legally. So
It's like, oh, well, it's robots, so it's okay.
right. I thought they were going to explore that theme more, which maybe
Yeah.
the show does, the HBO series. I don't know.
Yes.
But like you would have to be a crazy person to like want to go to the Wild West to like murder people on your vacation. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't check out.
Makes it even more of a horror movie to think that, like, there are people who the only thing holding them back from murdering you is the law.
Right.
Not like their conscience or anything, just like they don't want to go to jail.
This is, in many ways, the predecessor to The Purge.
Mm-hmm.
The spiritual predecessor.
There's a lot to explore in this world. I think it could easily be redone in a modern retelling, and that could be kind of something they explore a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I still think it holds up really well.
It was good.
And like the tension at the end is great.
The one more thing that I think goes with that, the score / soundtrack and or absence of it was so effective. Like when the gunslinger is tracking him through the desert and down through the thing, there's this like pulsing music every time he takes a step that was so scary to me.
The final, like, 10 minutes of the movie is, like, straight out of a horror movie.
Right.
But then the end credits roll, and it's like a jaunty Western tune.
Yeah. That's what I mean with like...
Which is a very horror movie as well.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, like the pacing of this movie and the world building so good, because the movie starts like a comedy, and by the end it's a horror movie. But it like the gradual transition, you are pulled along the way. It's like there's no like one point in the whole movie you can be like, okay, this is where it like flips, sort of. You know, it's just like
builds.
It just builds and builds and builds and builds, and before you know it, you're like, oh, when was I watching a horror movie? Yeah, I don't know. This was my
Good pick, Alex.
a good pick. Yeah, I'm glad I chose this one.
At least someone is.
At least someone picked a good one. Well, actually, okay, maybe this will be an interesting discussion of Rango, because it sounds like maybe my opinion is not the group's opinion.
Oh, I enjoyed Rango.
Oh, me too. Okay.
I just thought it was too long, and it featured much of the conflict featured my least favorite, like, kind of trope, which is lying / communication. Like, the whole movie.
Well, wait, let's let Alex give the people
Okay.
a
Okay.
summary.
So Rango is a 2011 animated film. It is about a theatrical pet chameleon becomes stranded in the Mojave Desert when he falls out of his owner's car. While seeking shelter in a nearby town of dirt, the lizard's imagination gets the best of him as he pretends to be a famous gunslinger named Rango in order to blend in with the rough locals. This quickly backfires as Rango finds himself anointed the new sheriff of Dirt and is tasked with saving the town from a devastating and mysterious drought.
So this was my pick, and I regretted it because I forgot that Johnny Depp was in it, and now I feel like I'm platforming an abuser.
Kristina was adamant that it had to be a Johnny Depp movie. It was going to be this
She
or
wanted the whole
The Lone
episode
Ranger.
to be a Johnny Depp episode, but we said
What
no.
a track! He's got quite a track record of troublesome westerns. Yeah, well, how should we start the discussion on Rango?
I feel like we should start directed by Gore Verbinski, animated by ILM. Like, I didn't realize how much went into this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which is evident when you watch it.
It's a prime candidate for a how did this movie get made? Like, the ingredients that were put into this movie, you would have thought this would be the best movie ever made, right? The director did 3 huge blockbuster movies, the Pirates of the Caribbean series, which is, I guess, how he developed a relationship with Johnny Depp. It's scored by Hans Zimmer. The cinematography is done by Roger Deakins, who had won Oscars for No Country for Old Men and True Grit. So he knows how to shoot a Western. Like, you got the best cinematographer in the business and maybe the best composer.
I think Hans Zimmer also did Pirates of the Caribbean.
He did.
So the ingredients are all there.
So you didn't like Rango is what I'm getting from what you're building up to here.
I thought there were elements of it that were very well done, but I agree with Kristina. It was way too long.
Yes.
And
An hour and 47 minutes.
And my number one criticism of this movie is I don't know who it's for.
No, me neither.
So I was reading
Sorry, I was very confused the whole time who the target demographic was.
about who the problem with this movie is that the way it was rated was weird because there was like a lot of smoking and a lot of like inappropriate jokes. And apparently it is supposed to be for like 13 to 17-year-olds, but because it's a Nickelodeon cartoon, it wasn't necessarily marketed that way. So like that's kind of who their audience was.
Right. I knew this was a Nickelodeon produced movie, and it's an animated movie with a cute lizard played by Johnny Depp.
A lizard.
Well, cute from a distance. So when this movie came out, I immediately dismissed it as a children's movie that's not a Pixar movie, so it's not worth watching. So, I mean, I think I was right in the end. I personally think I was right to have that initial reaction to it. But the movie itself is not that at all. It's like gritty and gross.
It's also like, I think, super referential to the whole genre, which I don't think at like 14 I was watching a lot of Westerns to really get that. I still didn't get it. I was like, I don't understand this, but this feels like a reference to the genre.
Not only is it very self-referential for like Western tropes that kids would not be picking up on, it also references adult films that no kid would know except me. Like the whole
The Dollars trilogy?
The bat riding scene where they're playing Flight of the Bumblebees, which is a nod to Apocalypse Now. No kid saw Apocalypse Now in 2011. And then the other scene is in the very beginning of the movie when he's falling out of the car, he hits a windshield, and
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Johnny Depp is driving the car, reprising his role from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Another movie that no kid would know.
I think that was for the parents.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there was a reference that I thought, who is this for? I guess, spoiler alert for the ending of the movie. The ending of the movie, he meets like the spirit of the West, who is literally Clint Eastwood as his character from A Fistful of Dollars, but voiced by Timothy Olyphant doing a Clint Eastwood impression. And he's playing golf. But he talks to Rango. I'm not sure if he was supposed to be a real man or Rango's having an illusion. How does he know who Clint Eastwood is? I don't know. But he says, we could be having Pop-Tarts with Kim Novak or something like that. Kim Novak is like an actress from the 50s.
Yeah.
What kid knows
Nobody.
Kim Novak? What parent really? in 2011 would be thinking about Kim Novak unless they were a fan of old movies. It was a really weird reference to me, but just the Clint Eastwood being there also like makes sense for the referential.
Yeah.
It also kind of makes sense because Rango himself, the character, like is very theatrical and wants to be an actor. So it would kind of make sense that he would fantasize that the Spirit of the West is Clint Eastwood.
But how does he know who Clint Eastwood is?
Yeah, how many movies? I have so many questions
How
about
does he
like
know
How does
Shakespeare?
How does he speak English? I mean, it's like
How-
you could just assume that he
I
knows
did
movies.
love that he was always trying to do some Shakespeare stuff. Why didn't his people care that they lost him?
Well, they probably didn't know
Soon
this.
dead.
They didn't know that he flew out of the, like, their windshield broke and he flew out.
Yeah. Like, let alone the side that, like you just
they-
left broken glass on a
They would
street.
have
Like,
had
they
to
didn't even...
pull over.
Right.
They're going too fast. They were flooring it down that road.
Maybe they're sick of all Rango's antics and they were like, oh, whoops. He's gone.
There were a lot of like aside lines that characters would say that I didn't understand. Not that I didn't literally understand, but they just had nothing to do with the story. And I would note them and be like, why did they say this? Like when the hawk is trying to catch Rango and he goes into the glass bottle and the hawk picks up the bottle, Rango says, "Please don't. I have vertigo. My glands are swelling." What is that? What does that mean?
That's not even, I think, how vertigo works, but
No. And then later, somebody says, "It's a puzzle. It's like a big old mammogram." What? Who is that for?
I don't know.
Who are these for?
Oh, man. Can we
You
talk...
spend 3 days in a horse carcass living off your own juices. It'll change a man.
Yeah.
Is that a reference?
just ask Luke Skywalker.
Again, like... I don't know who this movie is for. That's the number one critique of this movie. Like it was almost like it was written by a 80-year-old man, and I don't know. I wish I had a note of who actually wrote it.
Or potentially
John
like
Logan.
a film major who's trying to show off their...
Yeah, the references. Yeah.
John Logan, who wrote Gladiator and The Aviator and Skyfall and the Sweeney Todd movie.
Another Johnny Depp.
Another person who has done, good and successful work.
I don't know. Maybe the producers were just like, look, we have an A-list director, an A-list composer, an A-list cinematographer, an A-list writer. Like,
A-list cast.
Let's just,
A-list
and
cast.
yeah, we can talk about the cast in a second, but let's just throw a bucket load of money at it because it's going to be a guaranteed success. And then, of course, like, it's just way too weird to stand up on its own. But the cast, yeah, Bill Nighy plays the rattlesnake character. Ned Beatty is the mayor. Alfred Molina is the mystic tortoise that kind of sets
No,
things
Alfred
in motion.
Molina is the roadkill.
Yeah, that's
He's an
what I meant. Armadillo, yeah. Harry Dean Stanton is the mole character. Stephen Root is Doc the rabbit. Like this, every single character is like an A-list actor.
Isla Fisher, who I did not recognize her voice, was Beans.
Baines.
The love interest of the film. The iguana who didn't look like an iguana.
She's a desert lizard? I don't think she's an iguana.
No, she is an iguana.
She doesn't have any spikes.
No, and she also has hair. Red hair like Isla Fisher for no reason.
The detail of these characters.
Oh, I read that they didn't really know how to distinguish Beans as a woman, so Isla Fisher joked to just give it boobs.
And they did it.
And then that's what they did. Like, they didn't know how to signal, like, this is an attractive lizard who is the love interest.
Couldn't her dress and voice have done that?
No.
But when you got the might of ILM behind you, you're going to put boobs on that lizard.
It's the motto of the podcast.
So speaking of the CGI, ILM, as already mentioned, Industrial Light and Magic, this is their first feature length, and maybe only? No, they must have done more since then. But it's their first feature length CGI production.
It looked gorgeous.
It was that is what I will say is most impressive about this movie is the graphics are very impressive. Even for today's standards, I think they hold up or exceed most things that come out. That said, the setting of being a gritty Western movie, they're almost too detailed. Like, they're grotesque, the characters.
All of the creatures look like the real animal.
Yes.
Like you could go into the desert and see these creatures.
They're disgusting. And there's so many close-ups of just the most vile, grotesque creatures.
The moles.
They're hideous. There's even a character who has like an arrow sticking through his throat, and they just like constantly...
It's in his eye.
His eye,
and he says it's just conjunctivitis.
Kids probably fell out of their seats laughing with that one.
Because kids love conjunctivitis.
Mm-hmm.
There was also like an animal that seemed to be like an indigenous animal. That was I can't remember what it was. It was a bird.
Native
like a crow,
American.
Yeah.
And he
spoke very stereotypically.
The whole character was, I would say, a problem. It was played by an indigenous actor. 2011 seems too recent to be putting that in the Western movie, but
yeah,
what do I know?
So
the Native American bird was able to sense that one of the people who stole the water had an enlarged prostate. They're all animals. Do they have...
Another joke that should not be in a Nickelodeon movie.
No.
That
is peak Nickelodeon humor.
I just looked it up. So this movie came out in 2011. 2 years later is The Lone Ranger comes out, which Johnny Depp also stars in and plays the Native American.
Plays Tonto. But people had an issue with that when it came out.
Right.
So questionable that this movie...
This should have raised red flags to not have that movie ever be made.
The biggest question I think about this movie, most of my notes about this are questions, because they don't explain how any of it's happening. None of it makes sense. But my biggest question, what is his real name? Because he gives the name Rango when he is creating his Western character in the saloon.
His Western
like
Sona.
He's performing. And a little bit before that, Beans asks him, what's your name? And he's like, well, I have a lot of names. And then he lists all these types of names you can have, like my nickname and he says he's the only one of the few men with a maiden name. I guess that's a joke that he makes too.
I think he's making up most of those names.
But what's his real name?
I guess it kind of fits like his character being a chameleon that he kind of can... I'm trying to give credit to this movie. I don't know if that was intended at all, but that's, yeah.
This won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. We're not
going to move past that, I don't think. I mean, it was an interesting movie.
Visually impressive, but the competition that year, it was pretty lackluster. It was up against...
Puss in Boots.
Yeah, Puss in Boots, Kung Fu Panda 2, and A Cat in Paris. A Cat in Paris is fine, but it's no
Rango.
It's no Kung Fu Panda 2.
So yeah, this was definitely an off year for animated films, I would say.
Why does Rango have a belly button?
He was born.
I guess.
Maybe that explains the maiden name?
Does it?
I don't know. No, you're right. I don't know.
The maiden name would imply that he's been married and changed his name.
Mm-hmm. Who did Rango... Well, he was dating the headless Barbie doll torso that was in his...
Maybe when he was born, he took his parents' last name, and then when he was adopted by his people, he took their last name.
The fact that we're not having a film discussion about this movie, but instead are just pointing out non sequiturs and then spinning off into a dizzy about it, I think tells you a lot about the movie.
Well, I thought the plot was pretty solid, where like there's no water in the town of Dirt. They're like on rationed water, and they can't figure out why. But the mayor seems to always have water, and he's using his control of water to control the town. Rango accidentally discovers things by fumbling his way through nonsense.
But it's just there's so much other stuff that they threw on top of that normal plot.
Yeah. And like some of this stuff, like there's like the bathroom is like a Pepto-Bismol bottle, but that's like the only thing. Like none of the houses were made out of things. It was weird.
And also that seems negative towards Pepto-Bismol. I feel like brands won't do product placement in a negative way.
It's what it's for.
But they're defecating in the Pepto-Bismol bottle.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
That is what it's for. You're right. Hadn't thought of it.
There's no flaws in the world building in this film. I don't really have any more notes. I kind of just didn't think this movie was like thought out very well. I don't know. It looked really impressive. all the ingredients are there. I just think it needed another rewrite. Or to be marketed to adults. Not sure which.
Or both. One interesting thing I want to point out about the production of it, they did something that Johnny Depp called emotion capture to make this movie, where they actually acted out with all of the actors all of the scenes of the movie, and they didn't do motion capture suits, like they just wore regular clothes, but they just recorded their vocals while all of the actors physically acted it out, and then the animators animated from that. Sometimes directly, like there's a clip that I've seen a million times online of Johnny Depp in the scene that Rango is imitating all of the townspeople walking around. They show him doing the weird walks, the silly walks, and they just turn that into the scene. A very interesting way to make a movie. That's how Disney used to do a lot of their animated stuff, like in the 50s, but you don't see it a lot anymore. Yeah,
and I'm sorry I'm about to do this, but ILM did this for Star Wars Episode 1 with Jar Jar as well. That's sort of the first time they were experimenting with that.
They did Episode 1 so that they could make Rango.
Mm-hmm. Jar Jar walked, so Johnny Depp could silly walk, I guess.
So Rango could saunter?
Johnny Depp as Jar Jar Binks. That would have been interesting.
He would have tainted the whole movie.
An otherwise flawless movie. Yeah, right. Sorry, I took it to Star Wars. All right. Do we have any closing thoughts on Rango?
No.
So that is our recap of 3 weird Western films. But we do have a few recommendations for maybe some ones that we actually did really enjoy. So do you want to share some of those? Tory, what do you have?
I've got a. I think this would count as an actual weird Western. I'm not a big Westerns person, but this is probably my favorite piece of Western content I've ever interacted with. And it's a TV show from 1993 called The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., starring Bruce Campbell and Julius Carey. And it's sort of a sci-fi Western about the main character, Briscoe County Jr., who is a bounty hunter who's trying to track and capture this outlaw. But then there's this technological device. It's sort of a steampunk type of thing that is causing issues as he tries to do his bounty hunting task. And so he ends up having to sort of explore that while he's getting thwarted by this silly villain, who doesn't start out silly, but a silly villain who is named Lord Bowler, played by the late Julius Carey, who is another bounty hunter who tries to sort of thwart him, but then they also sort of have to work together sometimes. But it was only 1 season long. It got canceled, so the plot is not resolved, but it's just a really fun show that leans hard sometimes into the Western tropes, but it's such a modern production that it's got a more modern sensibility. And who doesn't love Bruce Campbell?
Cool. I also picked a deep TV show. I want to be clear, I don't like it, but it is a weird Western, and it's Firefly, which is like basically a cowboy show in space, starring Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk and other famous people. Also only 1 season that was canceled and left unresolved until they made a movie that people think is better than the TV show, but I think is also weird. And it is also Joss Whedon, so here I am platforming another abuser. But it's very Joss Whedon-y. It's got banter and quips and all of that. But if you like weird Westerns, you'll probably like Firefly.
I'm going to go back to you, Tory, because I didn't prepare anything.
Oh, no, I'm actually going to stop that.
You're going to leave it on Firefly?
Yes. Leave it all on Firefly.
Because I don't have a description of the other. Well, I do. Okay.
Oh, I have a Sarah Gailey.
Is it the same book?
No, mine's American Hippo.
So, Kristina and I both have Western books by Sarah Gailey. The one I'm talking about is Upright Women Wanted. It's about a stowaway named Esther. In this version of the West, the librarians are like the cowboys. Like they're out riding around trying to do good things. And they also are, I think they're exclusively women, the librarians.
I think
and
so too.
they're trying to fight for women to be... it's sort of the opposite of the Seven Brides. So they don't have to get married. They don't have to cook and clean and serve. They can do whatever they want. And so she wants to go join the librarians and fight for the freedoms of women in this society too. So it's like a novella. It's a short Western speculative type of thing. Weird Western.
Yeah. Mine is, it's really two novellas in what it's a series, American Hippo, which is like, what if instead of horses, cowboys rode hippos, which is based on like a weird piece of legislation where they almost brought hippos to the US, but then hippos are like the meanest, most aggressive creatures on the entire planet, and maybe they rethought actually bringing hippos here. But in this world, they do ride hippos, and there are hippo fights. And I think the main character is like a lawman or an ex-lawman who just sort of, I think, goes around riding his hippo, helping people, solving mysteries, that kind of thing.
Sounds interesting.
This
Is
is
this the same
Western.
author?
Yes.
Yeah, Sarah Galing.
She just
They
loves
write-
the West.
They
just
write
like the West.
a lot of like interesting, weird types of books.
Sounds like it. Awesome. That's it for
These are
recommendations?
our weirdest Westerns that
Those are
we've got
weirdest
for you.
Westerns.
Yeah, I had a couple, but none that I really want to like promote.
That's the thing about this genre.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's parts of it that you don't want to promote.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all we've got for this episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time between the shelves. Dun, 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 dun.